On today's video, I'm going to tie for you a nymph that has produced a lot of fish for the whole crew, and that is the Golden Stonefly Nymph. I'm going to show you my variation of this nymph. I'm going to show you the materials I use to tie it and the way I tie it. I will tell you right now, this is not a simple tie as far as timing. This nymph does take time, but the time spent at the vise is well worth the time spent on a stream, for this thing does produce a lot of fish. If you flip rocks, you find this in the water, this variation will work excellent for you. Let me run you through the materials used to tie this nymph, and then let me proceed with tying it for you. Quick materials check. The tail and the antennas are both going to be amber goose biots. Moving up the fly, my rib, I'm going to use ultra wire. This is black and brassy. The thorax and the abdomen is going to be golden hare's mask. The thin skin I'm going to use as the wing case, and this thin skin is malted oak golden stone. I will be using a 4mm bead, and for this fly it's going to be gold. And of course, the legs I'm going to be using are the Lively Legz. These are the large size yellow, and those will be what tops the fly there to give it the very nice natural appearance. But let me continue on with the fly now. Like with all my flies, I'm going to start off by pinching down the barb of the hook, turn it around, and on this fly I'm going to use, like I said before, a 4mm bead. I'm going to pop that around the bend in the hook, put the hook in my vise, and we're ready to start the fly. The actual thread I'm going to use, I didn't tell you guys, is ultra thread, and it's in color wood duck, which I found to be very well representing the color of a golden stone. So I'm going to thread front end of the hook, cut off my extra there, and right off the bat I'm going to start off. As you noticed, my bead's clear back here. I got my thread to the front. I'm going to grab 2 amber goose biots, and these I'm going to use as my antennas on the fly. Couple wraps, make sure that's at the top, it's pointed to the one side. I'm going to take my other one, put that over the top, do the same thing, split them a little bit here, start wrapping it back, and you can see a nice looking split. Looks like antennas, back towards the front, taper it off, grab my whip finishing tool, and I'm going to whip finish that off right there. 3 or 4 good wraps, and that's it. And there's the front of the fly. That's going to represent the antennas on the golden stone. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to continue on, start my thread back up, work my way back the hook, put a nice thread base on there. If you prefer, you can weight the fly. I've done well not weighting it, just using my split shot, so I avoid that step. When I get to this point in the fly, I will tell you, I will take it and I'll cheat a little bit, and I'll send my hook down out of my vise, and I'll work my thread back and over the bend of this curved shank hook here. As you can see, I've come over that, maybe a quarter of the way past, a little bit more, maybe a third of the way past, and that's where I'm going to stop. And at this point, I'll take it back a couple more wraps, and I'm going to get ready to tie my tail. As well as my antenna, my tail is going to be this amber goose biot. These I'm going to make just a tad bit longer than the antennas in the front, and once again I'm going to tie them to the top of the hook, kicking them off to each side. This one's headed in one direction. I'm going to take the other one, crisscross it towards me here, and I'm going to make sure that they look good and even, which they do, and I'm going to wrap that back to the spot where I ended up with thread my hook. Bring it back around, secure everything down. At this point I'm going to bring my hook back around in the vise, bring it back to that point. Okay, now I'm ready to tie in my ribbing, and my ribbing, like I said before, is the ultra wire black. I'm going to start tying it in. I like to keep it to my side of the hook. I'll bring it back, and the whole way back to where I ended tying in my goose biots. I'll bring that wrap right on top of that last one. Give a couple wraps back there, move it back towards me. And at this point I'm going to take my tying thread and just set it over the back side of my vise and out of the way, because I'm going to build a body. What I'm going to build the body with today is Unifloss. I'm going to be using black 1X Unifloss so that I don't have to take all that thread to build the body. This is much faster. With my tying thread still attached and back out of the way, I'm going to tie in my floss. Get started. And I'm going to build a nice tapered body. And that's what I'm looking for. Now it won't take as much dubbing or thread to build up that body on this fly. 3 whip whip finish. And ready to continue on. A little bit of a cigar shape there. Bring my tying thread back around. Give a couple wraps over that, and I'm ready to start dubbing this hook. Start building up my dubbing on my thread. You know, remember with this dubbing, you don't want to add too much because you're going to get yourself in a real jam as far as a messy looking fly. So it might take a little bit more to dub this because this is a big fly, but it's worth taking the time because it does fish well and you want it to hold up and hold together and look nice. Bring this thread back clear to the back where you ended up your tying thread. Bring the dubbing back and just start working your way towards the front. There you have it. We have a nice looking dubbed body. Now I'm going to take my rib and I'm going to start counter wrapping that rib. Trying to make even segmentations across that stonefly's body. And you'll notice on the actual golden stonefly, if you look at his segmentations, you'll see this black in between each segmentation, and it really sticks out on this actual nymph. So I think the black thread or the black wire or whatever you use is a must, and we're going to tie that off right there. Stuck up a little bit. There we go. Okay, now we're ready to put on our shell back or wing case. We're going to take our thin skin and we're going to tie it in right here at the back of our body. Make sure it's good and centered on top of the hook. That looks pretty good. Give it a few wraps to secure it down. And we are ready to start tying a little bit of a thorax up. Take my wax again. I won't make the thorax complete yet because I'll just lay down a thin thorax going towards the front of the hook, because once I get to the front of the hook, then we're going to tie in our legs. Okay, nice thin thorax, and we are ready to tie in our legs. Okay, we're ready to tie the legs in. I have a pack of the large Lively Legz. It's color yellow. I'm going to pull a set out here. We're going to place it on the hook. There's a quick look at it. We're going to place it down on the hook. These are the front legs you see facing forward, and we're going to tie those front legs in right behind the bead of the hook. This little extra piece you see right here that's just beyond that, that's eventually going to be cut off. That's a front tab. And if you notice, we also have a back tab. That makes it easier for handling these when you're tying these nymphs. So I'm going to place this right on the top of the hook, right behind the bead, and I'm going to tie that in. Make sure it's good and centered. Give it a wrap, 2 wraps, 3 wraps. Next I'm going to go right behind that set of legs and do kind of a loose wrap. And then a couple good wraps behind that one. Behind the next set of legs, another wrap, making sure everything's on top of the hook, 2, 3, and last we're going to go behind that third set of legs, 1, 2, and 3. Come back to the middle with 2 wraps just to hold it down, and we're going to cut off our tag ends now. Those little ends that I showed you, pull them up, clip, and go to the back one and do the same. Next thing I'm going to do, we have the legs all on there secured now. Fly's looking pretty good. Put on some dubbing on the hook, just another thin layer, and we're going to start building our triple wing case. Lively Legz make it easy to know where to bring that wing case over, because you just bring it right in between each set of legs. Take a couple wraps there. We're going to go behind. Now we're back on the back set of legs, and I'm going to do approximately 3 or 4 wraps and come back in the front. I'm going to pull that wing case over just like that and get 1 wrap. I have that wing case pulled over. I'd wrap some dubbing behind it, and I'm going to get 1 wrap in front of it. Now I'm going to pull it back this way, and once again I'm going to put some dubbing on the hook. Now we have 1 wing case tied in. We're working on the second wing case. Depending on how thick you want your thorax is how thick you're going to put your dubbing on the hook. Everybody has their own personal preferences while tying. I'm going to tie this back, and it's coming back over the wing case a little bit, and that's what's going to give the appearance of the next wing case coming, and it's sitting up higher a little bit instead of just being rounded off. So we're going to tie that in. We have the dubbing. We're going to bring it back up in front of this set of legs, and we're going to bring that wing case over and make sure it's good and centered. Pull it down, pull it back, give another wrap, and we're ready. That's 2 sets of wing cases done. Once again, I'm going to put some wax on, hold my dubbing, dub up my thread again, and continue on. We're going to bring that dub thread, once again we're going to bring it back over the wing case a little bit, back towards that second set of legs, making sure we don't squish them, and then bring it right in front of the fly. And we're going to bring that wing case over as well. So this will be our third and final wing case. I'm going to get it on there, make sure it's good and centered, and I'm going to pull that down. I'm going to give it another wrap. I'm going to give it a third and final wrap, and then I'm going to pull my thin skin back, give it 1 wrap in the front, and at this point I'm going to grab my whip finish tool, and you can see how those legs just get out of the way as you're going. A 4 wrap whip finish, pull good and tight, bring your scissors up, cut the thread off, and pull up on a wing case, clip it off, and there it is. And there you have it. That's my variation of the Golden Stonefly. With that lighting there, you can see the triple wing case, you can see the antennas. We'll go back. There's the tail, it's all there. The Lively Legz give it that natural appearance of real legs on the fly. And this fly has produced a lot of fish for me. I hope you enjoyed my fly. I hope you give it a try, and I hope it works just as well for you. Take care, and until next video, best of luck in the outdoors.